Hey everybody, Wave 3 News Meteorologist Ryan Hoke here with a Hokey video blog for this Sunday morning after a wild and wicked Saturday. Holy cow! We are talking about wind gusts yesterday approaching 70 miles an hour in some parts of wave country with that very, very interesting front that moved through with lots of wind aloft that channeled down to the surface. Want to explain real quick how this happened. Alright, so we had the front moving through. This was about 4 o'clock yesterday, a snapshot of what was going on. This was near the peak of those gusty winds. So at about 2,500 feet above our heads, which is pretty low considering that, you know, the atmosphere, we get weather that goes all the way up to about 40,000 feet. So only about 2,500 feet above our heads is where we had 50 mile per hour plus winds. We saw that yesterday. We alerted you on the Wave 3 News weather app. And, of course, we put that out there in all our forecasts hours and hours before this even transpired. But the deal is that those winds aloft had to get down to the surface somehow. Why did they get down? Well, the sun heated the ground up, as it does every day. Even it does through the clouds a little bit. But we had a few of those cumulus clouds, and in the breaks on those clouds, where we had more efficient heating of the surface, the atmosphere got really mixed up. And this is called atmospheric mixing. We use that term in meteorology as well. And what happens is it's basically like a convective cell that happens. It's like a big heat engine. It starts mixing up the air around as cooler air begins to descend and warmer air rises, and the atmosphere wants to get into equilibrium, so it mixes things up. So when you mix up the atmosphere, even though the winds may have been somewhat calmer at the surface, some of those winds aloft get caught in that mixing and start to get channeled down into the surface of the atmosphere. And that's why we had 50, 60, nearly 70 mile per hour wind gusts yesterday. Whenever that mixing allowed that channeling to happen, you get one of those big wind gusts and poof! So that's when you get those damaging winds. And of course, it's completely unpredictable as to where exactly the highest gusts will be and when, because the atmosphere is, one, a chaotic system, and two, you can't really forecast these areas where the mixing is going to be the most efficient, where you get the most efficient heating, because that happens within seconds. I mean, that is just how fast some of this stuff happens. So very, very interesting setup yesterday. Not too unlike what we had with the Hurricane Ike remnants in 2008. That was a remnant of a hurricane moving through, but the same principle applied. The sun came out, mixed up the atmosphere, the winds, 2,500 to 10,000 feet above our heads, boom, got mixed and channeled right on down to the surface. So these were the highest wind reports that we had yesterday. Franklin County, that was the eastern Franklin County, that got that 69 mile per hour gust. Nelson, Henry both had 62 mile per hour gust. Grayson at 60. Jackson County near Seymour at 59. Du Bois County near Jasper at 58. Now J-Town and the Louisville International Airport both had 57 mile per hour winds. To give you some perspective, the National Weather Service issues a severe thunderstorm warning whenever there is 58 mile per hour winds or greater, or at least the potential for that in a thunderstorm. Notice how many reports we had way over that yesterday. And here's the deal. They issued a high wind warning for this, which was totally merited. I'm so happy they did there in the afternoon. That really helped alert people to the fact that this was going to be a big deal, bigger deal than just your standard wind advisory. But you really can't issue a severe thunderstorm warning for these because, again, they're so random, and we had so few reports actually breach the actual 58 mile per hour severe thunderstorm criteria that you couldn't do that anyway. We just had a handful of those, but those that saw that, I mean, you guys got the most damage, the most tree topplings and such things like that. I mean, it was just a crazy day yesterday. Let's not deal with that again. Unfortunately, in the forecast, you'll see we've got another chance for some high winds coming our way. All right, lightning rods. Let's talk about that on today's Hokey Weather Fact. A lot of people think, oh, if I put a lightning rod out, it will attract the lightning. It is not attracting lightning, actually. A lightning rod only serves to provide a safe passageway for the electricity from a lightning bolt. If one should happen to hit your house or building with a lightning rod on it, channels it safely into the ground. The building is relatively undamaged. It does not attract them, though. You can tell that to your friends and family this morning from today's Hokey Weather Fact. All right, we talked about on the newscast this morning how we have a few showers on Monday. It's not going to be a big deal. I'd say about 70 to 90% of us stay dry on Monday. That's a pretty good deal, isn't it? But this midweek rain, I think all of us get wet with that. And the wind, I mean, we're trying to see out into the future when it comes to the wind gusts at this point, and it looks like we may have to deal with at least some 40 to 45 mile per hour gusts once again by Wednesday, maybe even higher than that. All right, sunny skies this morning in Paoli. Beautiful sunrise there. Not a cloud in the sky. We won't see one for much of the afternoon either. Temperatures in the 20s and 30s. We're under that freeze warning until 9 o'clock. By the time you're watching this, it'll probably have expired. But this morning, widespread below freezing temperatures. And that's not the last time we'll see that this week either. We've got several more chances of that to come. There's the cloudless skies in the satellite view. Few clouds moving through central Indiana. I do want to say that central Indiana does have a wind advisory today. Some of the leftover winds behind this front. It's not going to be a big deal even up there for the most part. And down here for certain, we're looking for a much calmer day. Maybe gusts up to 30 miles an hour, and that is the most we're going to see. So the front's well out to our west now. They've got high wind warnings, wind advisories up and down the east coast from Boston to New York down toward the Delmarva Peninsula. They've got wind warnings and snow reports too. In fact, pretty good looking snowstorm up there toward Massachusetts at this time. They've got inches of snow falling to the ground as we speak. You saw that wind advisory up there near Chicagoland into parts of northern and north central Indiana there, but it's, again, not going to really affect us as we head throughout the day. Here's what Futurecast looks like to get a handle on these temperatures. We'll be in the lower 50s by 1 o'clock, not a cloud in the sky. We keep the cloudless skies even by 7, and we'll see those temperatures topping out in the lower 60s. Futurecast says 62. I went 61 today. Hopefully we can get to 62. That'd be really nice. Just the other guidance is coming in a bit cooler in the upper 50s, and I know with the efficient sunshine today that we're going to be getting probably just outside of the 50s there. So that's why I went 61. Clouds move in tonight, increasing moisture in the atmosphere. We'll have less of a cold night ahead. In fact, temperatures in the 50s. I do want to say for this afternoon, if you're trying to plan burning some of that tree debris that you may have had yesterday, don't do it today. We've got an enhanced wildfire risk because of low relative humidity values and some of that breeze this afternoon. Put it off until hopefully next weekend. We'll have better conditions for that. Here's that 7-day breakdown. I want to break down that Monday forecast for you real quick with those showers, just to kind of show you how sparse this is going to be. The latest run of Futurecast is really almost rain-free at this point. The other model is not quite as optimistic on that front, but you'll see that we do get at least a couple of sprinkles or showers in our eastern and southeastern counties throughout the late morning into the early afternoon. Temperatures are going to be very interesting because we're looking at mid-60s here in the city, but look at like Seymour, North Vernon, they'll be in the lower 50s. That's about a 15-degree difference. And that's because that front's moving through big contrasted temperatures. So don't be shocked when, if you're driving along from Louisville up north, it suddenly gets very cool very fast. All right, so on Tuesday morning, that leaves us with the potential for a widespread freeze or frost behind that front. There you go. Futurecast, the latest run, puts us down to 31 in the city. I think we'll be somewhere around 33. Notice that last night, this morning, that here in the city center, we did not make it below freezing. Current temperature, still 35. Had to check it there to make sure I got the current information. But everybody else went below freezing. That'll likely be the deal on Tuesday morning as well. So widespread frost and freeze. Prepare for it. Now Wednesday, ahead of this next front, another belt of winds moves in. Can you believe it? More winds. I guess it's spring, right? And some of those wind gusts could prompt a wind advisory. National Weather Service is mulling that over again for Wednesday, and they'll probably wait a day or two before they issue that just to give enough thought to it and look at the latest data. Okay, so we've got this cold front moving through on Wednesday. Once the winds begin to subside somewhat, we'll see rain move in. Some of it could be a little heavy at times. Some thunder, especially south of us as we go throughout that day. Severe weather is going to be limited because I don't think it's going to be enough moisture in the atmosphere to really get those storms going. Something interesting behind the front, though, is the cold temperatures and maybe a clipper system moving through. You see those little splotches there of it. And that may produce a rain to snowflake scenario. I'm just going to call it snowflakes for now because I don't see anything more than that. It's not going to be an accumulating snow, but just a few festive flakes, if you want to call it that this time of year, during spring break for crying out loud. But it'll just be Thursday night into Friday morning when we see that happen. Confidence meter on this setup right now is 7. So by Thursday you get that little small rain chance there with that clipper moving through. There's the snow shower chance early Friday. Temperatures fall. I've taken us down into the upper 40s. I've taken us below guidance on that just because, I mean, this thing looks pretty powerful moving in. We may have to moderate that somewhat, but I don't think too much past what you see there. And by Saturday, we'll be back into the 60s, sunshiny skies. And thank goodness, we're now getting a signal that we're seeing 60s and 70s for the second full week of April here. Of course, tax day is not on the 15th. It's on that following Monday, the 18th. So you got a little extra time to do that, extra time to bask in the glory of the sunshine as well. That's all we got for you today, folks. Much calmer weather on tap. We'll see you at 6 and 11 on Wave 3 News.